thinking about this now, Black Dragons have a game 2 here. It is a best of 3 against Garn Servo. Loser goes home, winner goes on in the loser bracket, or in the lower bracket, I should say, to take on, as we mentioned earlier on, Dignitas or Space Station Gaming. Do Black Dragons start already thinking, Black Dragons, do you reckon, already thinking about their next opposition here? Or should they be a little bit worried about being over-complacent in this game too?
I don't think that they're necessarily concerned about facing off against Oceania. I think that their Game 1 performance was dominating enough to where it's very clear that Black Dragons are the superior team.
Sure.
But I do feel as though that doesn't mean that you can be comfortable and become complacent. They still need to try and bring out their best of the execution, because you don't ever want to get into that mindset as a team, especially to where, okay guys, we got this easy peasy lemon squeezy, let's just, you know, do whatever the hell we want, because that's how teams like Garn Servo could end up coming back, and then this shapes up to be a best of 3 set, and you never really know what can happen in a third match.
Not many differences in the band so far. It will be the Circuit and the Terror off the table. Obviously, it's the same way round, I believe, too. Garn Servo are on the Chaos side, Black Dragons on the Order side once again. And I believe the loser gets to choose whether they first or second pick. So Garn Servo prefer second pick. It's always a discussion in different metas about what's better, first or second pick. Where do you think it is, Taco?
I think here Garn Servo are maybe trying to see whether or not Black Dragons choose to prioritize that Ullr pickup again as their first pick choice. And this also allows the Oceanic team a little bit more of an opportunity to try and respawn. They seem as though they're really struggling, trying to figure out where to actually prioritize their team fighting during the match itself. So I think that just trying to look for picks that could potentially shut down 1 or 2 members from Black Dragons would probably be the best way to go.
Sure. I would like to see Garn Servo maybe look towards Envisionise here. Envisionise with the most competitive experience from this Oceania roster. He did attend Worlds for Scylla just recently, and honestly, I'd like to see him get the Raven. If he can get that Raven maybe in the first couple of picks here with that second pick opportunity, maybe they can make something happen for themselves earlier on. Envisionise, I feel they have to try and play through him here.
Well, without hesitation, Black Dragons immediately going straight for the Ullr. Can't blame them for beelining for it either, because if they do want to run back a similar composition to what they just had, well, this is a perfect opportunity to do so. Garn Servo, if they go for the Raven pick here, I actually have concerns about that, because I don't think that Raven is the solution.
Okay. What do you reckon they should really be looking at then? What's the solution to this comp? Is it trying to take it away? Because we saw them try and do that a little bit with the Fafnir pick.
I think they have to try, and well, Cole and Robin's a little bit of a different story, because that is heavy pressure, and I was a little bit more concerned that they were going to lean towards that Bologna again. I think the Bologna was not really able to do anything that he wanted to, because it's just too easy for an Ullr to kite around that.
Well, this is definitely good for Garn Servo to take 2 picks that Black Dragons played last game away from them. Kliz is going to have to mix things up this time around, as will Gons in the jungle. Fafnir being hovered over by Black Dragons, and if they do go for that double Hunter strat, it's available now. They could go for the Hachiman alongside this Fafnir and say, okay, we're running double Hunter, and we've got that Coerce buff available too.
If Black Dragons reveal a double Hunter strategy super early on, I would probably be super happy to see a Kuzenbo pickup for Garn Servo.
Really?
I think that a lot of teams, especially from the international side, have some fears towards that Kuzenbo pickup, because anytime a god does reflect damage to that extent, it can be problematic for some of these double Hunter compositions, and so you just want a lot of frontline potential to ensure that they're not going to be able to just completely free cast.
I like what Black Dragons have done here. Instead of going for the double Hunter, we were a little bit worried about there. 2 tanky targets for Garn Servo. Well, guess what's great against tanky targets? Nemesis. Shred those protections down a little bit and allow Ullr to do some burst damage if required on top. Back to Garn Servo then. They know what most of the members of Black Dragons are going to be playing now. They do need some damage on this roster, something backline. Do you go for some backline here at all in terms of like just damage, or do we continue with the forward pressure on the front line?
I want to see a mid lane pickup, because Black Dragons haven't established their mid laner yet, and I think that that could provide a decent advantage for Garn Servo, because then they have the ability to just ban out 2 mages that they feel could exert a lot of pressure and further contribute into Black Dragon's draft. And I think there's a lot of different options that Black Dragons could possibly opt for. They've really left things open, and it seems as though they're looking for more of a pick burst composition, so maybe take away the Poseidon even. I think that could be beneficial.
Well, they're going to take the Ganesha here, so it is going to be backline of sorts, but focusing on defensive backline. Can be aggressive, can Ganesha, but at the same time, sit on the backline with your carries to make sure they're protected from that Nemesis a little bit, and maybe the dive potential from others from Black Dragons. zGonnZ, though, have their backs against the wall. They're down 1 game here against Black Dragons. They lose this one, they're going home again. And Oceania still trying to find some competitive wins for themselves. Struggled over the last few years in trying to do so. And now the Brazilians are looking to take the scalp of the Oceanic region too, to join that of LATAM that did that at the World Championships.
I am not actually a fan of Ganesha in this draft.
Really?
Because Nemesis was already selected by Black Dragons. Why add more frontline when Nemesis is just probably going to be able to ideally target the Ganesh?
In fairness, though, from zGonnZ, though, Taco, I mean, they're going to need a support, right? Chulainn and Ravana aren't going to be in the support role, so who do you draft and support? I mean, Geb's not good against Nemesis either.
I would rather have the Geb.
Really?
Geb means more survivability for your team. You already have Ravana and Chulainn. That's plenty of burst damage between those two, depending on how the laning phase goes for the Chulainn. And all around, though, I just don't really see a strong likelihood for zGonnZ to pick up 2 gods that are going to be able to play into what Black Dragons have very well.
Well, we'll see what zGonnZ do next. They have the next pick after all here as well. It's going to be the Apollo. Can flex towards the mid lane, as Baskin has proven alongside Hurrywin before from the North American Pro League. Black Dragons, though, have the opportunity for their last 2 picks now. Could be the Ullr mid, and I think that's one of the reasons we may see the Ganesha here. I think, because, you know, like we talked about Geb a little bit earlier on, Geb's early game is kind of on the weaker side. His pressure's not really there. Ganesha kind of catches up a little bit more, buffing your Hunter. And if that Ullr is in the dual lane with Fafnir, then, you know, you're going to need a little bit more pressure. So maybe they're just playing around that.
Black Dragons Ram.
Ram?
I would love to see a Ram pickup for Black Dragons. I think that it would funnel really well into their whole pick-burst mentality, because Ram is great at trying to help secure those kills even further, and Apollo is a really interesting pickup. I think that this is mostly a response pick towards the Nemesis, because the Mesmerize being able to strip away that Nem shield and stop her from that chase down potential, depending on whether or not she chooses to use her beads.
Well, zGonnZ believe it's going to be a second hunch, and it will. You called the Ram, and MarcelZ will get that one again for himself. MarcelZ has been around the scene for a while on Black Dragons and shows it, but it's a Chronos. Now the question is it Chronos or Apollo mid? Because we've seen them both before. Who's going to match up against what's looking like Rama Fafnir here? I guess that's a way to look at this.
Against Ram, Ullr, neither of these, neither Apollo or Chronos really has a strong suit. I guess in the laning phase against the Ram, it's just that Apollo could maybe do okay against the Ram. I wouldn't really want to throw Chronos into the dual lane, though. Chronos just a little bit too punishable, doesn't have a whole lot of health to work with early on, and kind of needs the assistance of the jungle.
Do we get a game 3?
I don't think so.
Well, let's find out. Tom and Agro standing by to bring us game 2. Black Dragons are up 1-0.
Thanks a lot, fam. Watching this one as we get into game number 2, you were very excited about Kliz's Osiris.
Yeah, Kliz, look, he's played a lot of Osiris during his time in the Smite Global series, during multiple different stuff, but I'm really just excited because, you know, there's been a lot of talk on Twitter between PBM and Deathwalker about an Osiris 1v1 that's going down, and Kliz says he wants the winner. So this is a good preview of what's coming maybe for the winner of that Osiris 1v1.
Well, that won't be till a little bit later, but let us know who you think the winner of this one's going to be. Shout us out in Mixer Chat and do all the fun stuff. This one should be interesting. The Chronos and the Apollo, where do you think they're going to wind up?
I think that we'll see Apollo mid, because I think that Garn is starting to see that pressure in the mid lane is very, very important, and Chronos just does not provide that, and it will be Swifty piloting the best Apollo skin in the mid lane and allowing Regan to take the later game character of Chronos into the duo lane. Mid pressure is so important right now. I think any team that looked at this meta and goes, yeah, Chronos is who we want in the mid lane, hasn't been paying attention.
Sure. Yeah, I think a big part of what we're going to be doing is blinking on Regan. Got him. Getting some trouble. Oh, the axe misses, but it do not matter. Nann with the first blood for Buek Duwagons.
So there's the first blood, and if you're gonna beads in that situation, you just gotta beads. You either decide as soon as you get slowed, because there's no way zGonnZ's just blinking on you by himself. You don't have to get information to know that he's not with his entire team. So as soon as you hold the beads, you're holding the beads and dying, or you beads right away in reaction. Regan splits the difference, loses the beads and his life, and is sad about it. I don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing.
Probably. Kliz right here. Dodged everything that Kayo has given him so far. Finally turns back and returns a little bit of poke. Swifty behind the tower.
Nice. Really smart here by Nann, understanding that Swifty probably wants to proxy. So beautiful, won't clear with just one rotation in. He's got to get a couple of them, and so a lot of hunters will like to try and sneak in between tier 1 and tier 2 in the mid lane and throw ability out to clear the wave, but Nann doesn't let him.
Destonate by himself here. The hunter joining up with Regan, so should be fun watching the invade as well. So the two players going to the mid lane serves Servo well, able to capitalize off of that one. However, they're going to get invaded as well. MarcelZ trying to find that last hit. Both of them playing chicken here, and PIBE is going to be the one that drops it. Scratch that, Swifty got it. So Garn Servo get the invade and defend. With that said, they do give up the first blood, so still behind.
But I like what zGonnZ does here. He understands that with the start the Black Dragons are going for, it's likely that Envisionise will be on that left-hand side and contest the red. That's the correct response from Envisionise to make sure that doesn't go down in Black Dragon's favor for free. But zGonnZ is at least guaranteeing something on the other side of the map. Instead of leaving it up to chance and seeing what happens, he guarantees that, okay, at least we're getting blue buff on this invade. Now, if Black Dragons could have secured that red, then it's great because they stole away red and blue from their opposition, and purple for that matter if they wanted to sometimes. But in this situation, you're at least guaranteeing one buff invade instead of leaving it up to chance for a couple. So smart plays by zGonnZ.
Envisionise as well. So the early game pressure was brought by the Hunter or the Chronos player coming over here and sitting with Swifty in the middle lane. And then what we saw was Envisionise actually doing the same thing. So Nann definitely not as comfortable as he was in game number 1. And in fact, you see the response from Black Dragons. Garn is actually going to be hanging out with that Ullr player a little bit more than we saw in game number 1, which, if you guys remember, that's how he got a lead.
Exactly, and it's all because that Swifty clears the wave a little bit better and fights a little bit better than the Poseidon does. Now, probably not clears the wave. I'll take that one. I'll walk that one back a little bit. Poseidon clears wave pretty well, but then once he clears, he can't really fight you at all. At this point, even like Ullr, it's going to be difficult to fight against, but if Nann misses Axe, then Swifty's got a real chance to go up 1v1 against him just because of the passive.
That's the key for me right there, is the ability to fight back into Nann. I think is a little bit better. With the Poseidon, you throw the Kraken, but you probably have to wait to use that if you're going to get ganked. There's other options, there's abilities, there's objectives to think about. With the Hunter, you can fight more often, and I like this choice against Nann's Ullr.
But very surprised that Swifty picks up Aegis instead of Beads, because Nann's kill potential is off of that Axe, which would prevent an Aegis from coming through for Swifty. But a little bit better against Nemesis than a Purifications would be. So Swifty looking for his safety in the 2v1 or the 2v2 more so than the necessary 1v1.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is one of those decisions that he makes not lightly. You sit there in base for a while and you go, all right, if I play well, I don't need the beads to level 12. I can totally like position myself better, and I'm going to go with the Aegis so I don't get beat up. Now, if you're me, you absolutely get beat up, but he's definitely not. This is the best team out of Oceania, so I like that confidence in his own ability to do what he's doing right now. Way out of crowd control range.
Regan in some trouble on this left-hand side, but PIBE misses the hammer. Destonate's still going to use the sprint, and PIBE says, that looks like fun. I want to do it too.
zGonnZ has blink
of his own because zGonnZ is on the way.
He's got the blink. He's got the ultimate as well. Destonate falls down. MarcelZ puts number 2 up for the Black Dragons.
And this is good timing too, because it allows Black Dragons to go back to their waves, clear out one wave or so, and then invade should they so choose. Not perfect timing. Usually you'd like to see it right as the buffs are spawning, but speaking of which, look at where Envisionise is. Great timing in his head there. No wards or anything like that. on his speed buff, just understanding that his own speed buff is coming up, so zGonnZ likely is as well. So zGonnZ gets a kill, or an assist rather, on that left-hand side, but loses his speed buff for it.
Yeah, love that play from Envisionise. Also has been routinely looking at the back experience camps for Black Dragons as well. Still, this team is still trailing, don't get me wrong. The first blood and the secondary kill was definitely a big deal for BD. But Garn Servo, this is what was missing in game number 1, Ryan. I asked for it specifically. Kayo, you have to be fine. I said Envisionise has to be more active, and that's what we're seeing in game 2.
He really has been. He's been more proactive in the jungle, less reactive, like you were asking for.
Just active in general. I felt like he sat on his hands all game.
Well, he was trying to figure out where he could go in game 1, and because all the lanes were so far behind right off the bat, couldn't really go anywhere that was a lane. But in this game, he's not really hitting the lanes as much as he is seeing where Garn is going to be and then reacting to it. Garn goes to the right-hand side, Envisionise invades back left Harpies. Garn ganks to a lane, Envisionise takes his speed buff in response. It's like I was praising Garn earlier, guaranteeing at least one thing despite if something else won't go your way on the map. Now Envisionise is doing the same with the jungle camps, and it's keeping him in the game.
Garn here looking for the counter invade, and now he's going to get beat up by Envisionise. Could be the first kill for Garn Servo if Envisionise plays it right. Swifty is in the sky. Little baby blink, and there's the ultimate from the mid lane. Envisionise gets the last hit. Garn Servo on the board.
And that's using that global pressure that Apollo provides. Not sure that Envisionise necessarily needed the help. He looked like he may have had that one under wraps anyways, but you heard it in their interview in the pregame that Dignitas really opened their eyes, if you will, to global pressure, specifically out of the mid lane. It was the Neath from Zeros that opened their eyes, but using that lesson that Dignitas gave them and applying it now here against Black Dragons, and it's helped out Garn Servo so far.
And that was a border case, right? Does Swifty need to be there? And for a team like Servo that's been in their position, I want him to err on the side of caution and help his jungler out.
Yep.
Because worst case scenario, 2 players split a kill, right? If he doesn't show up, worst case scenario is his jungler dies.
Well, not only that, but it gets him back to lane faster. He was in base and needed to walk back anyways, so may as well use the ultimate, get there a little bit more quickly, and get that assist credit, and make sure that your jungler is safe. Those are all ahead of making sure your teammate is safe, of course. Your own personal gold game.
Problem is, I mean, he's so neon. Everybody saw him coming. If he was in a different skin, I mean, maybe he'd be a little bit stealthier.
That is not how that works at all.
Regan gonna get stunned out and slowed a little bit. Destonate drops his ultimate in response, and Regan able to pick one up and get the rewind off. Puts himself in a precarious situation. Ain't no thing. Level 7 though, and the kills are tied.
MarcelZ needed just another moment to get up into that Astral Barrage. zGonnZ trying to come in and clean up the kill with the Blink Slice and Dice, but Regan going for the Pen Boots instead of the Warlock Staff is the difference maker there. A lot of Chronos, they understand that their early game bad, so not even worry about it. Let's just get to the stacking and try and get to the point where I'm able to affect the game a little bit more easily, but Regan making sure that he can still fight when necessary in that dual lane. Now he's got a little bit of a lead over MarcelZ, and if that was a 10-stack Warlock Staff, I don't think he necessarily finds that kill onto MarcelZ in that situation, and certainly doesn't survive. Needed that movement speed the Pen Boots provided him.
Yeah, the Chronos is a character that is still one of my favorites, but definitely not always applicable. I mean, he's a mage hunter in a world that mage hunters aren't really welcome. He doesn't bring much pressure in the mid lane like you mentioned. I mean, why does Chronos really come out?
Because late game Chronos is still one of the scariest gods in the entire game. He's as soon as he pops that 2-man, you're in trouble no matter who you are. Tank, assassin, mid, hunter, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
You know what they did there?
What did they do there?
They threw the brick through the window. So there's getting pressure on the right side. 1 versus 2, walking forward. Usually you see this pressure or this language when the jungler's coming. The jungler's not coming. Kliz is just ready to take 2v1 because he wants to keep the enemy on the right side of the map so his team can do the dirty work in the middle lane.
Really well executed there by Black Dragons. PIBE hits a hammer, max distance, nice shot from him. The follow-up was perfect as Swifty's got to use the Aegis here, and that hammer would have hit. That would have been another kill for Black Dragons, but Nann bringing the damage already, and that's where beads may have served Swifty a little bit better. It would have saved him from some more damage, most likely, than the Aegis did in that situation.
Still gets out of there, and Envisionise is here, trying to stop the tower push, and will do so successfully. Middle lane pings coming out so far. MarcelZ waiting for his mid lane, goes ahead, drops the red buff, and at 10 minutes, we've got everything tied up here. Nice to see Garn Servo kind of come back. They were never quite behind. Black Dragons didn't really get a great lead, but was putting themselves in a position to step forward and take the mid game. Garn Servo, with a couple of good kills, has really put that to a stop and has made sure that we approach the mid game on an even plane.
It's been very close so far in this one, and Garn Servo's late game composition is so much better than it was last game, and even with Fafnir and double ADC for Black Dragons plus a Nemesis, honestly, Garn Servo might just have a better late game comp. Ganesha is so hard to deal with in the late game, and late game Chronos and Apollo are two of the best hyper carries you could ask for.
I like this play because nobody's expecting it. You go for the Gold Fury at 10 minutes. Now, Pyromancer is minimal. We're talking like 100 gold per player, but it's something, and it's essentially free. Nobody's going to be looking at the Pyromancer at 10 minutes and 40 seconds. That's a great call because of the absurdity of it all, almost. And that's why I really like that play, because who's there? Nobody's defending that, and I don't think you lose anything for making that big rotation.
Well, it did cost Destonate his ultimate, but now if Garn Servo just kind of play it slow for a little bit, they don't have to worry about losing that ult whatsoever. Kayo should be careful on this right-hand side, though. He's in solo kill territory now for Kliz. That ultimate, if he can time it well, could just spell the end of Kayo.
Well, he's going to look for it. There's the little bit of poke. Not enough just yet. Kliz going to slow roll this and play it safe. However, as he turns around, he did catch Envisionise out of the corner of his eye, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he knows he's there. Now there's trouble for the young solo laner, Kliz, 2 levels higher than Envisionise. Envisionise able to bring the damage. Now the other side, the more lucrative objective. Black Dragons looking for the Gold Fury. There's a transformation, nice and easy. Garn Servo a little bit too late to the party. Will walk home empty-handed. Black Dragons pocket full. And they're about 1,000 gold up.
Really well played there by Black Dragons, but it all comes off the back of Kliz's pressure that he's gotten for himself in this lane. He brings Kayo low, and now he's got to handle Envisionise, who blinks on top of him, but has that Judgment Tether on him, gives him some nice damage mitigation, gets up and out of that across the sky, but Kayo was waiting for him.
And there's help from everybody. Envisionise gets the last hit. Nice bite back, and this is what Servo weren't doing in game number 1. You use terminology, they rolled over early in game 1 as Envisionise getting punished here. Nemesis and Nann. And he'll just go ahead and be deleted. And Servo are absolutely not rolling over. In fact, they're getting aggressive. Duo lane ultimate popped by the Ganesha as well, but no kill found.
As I was saying on that Gold Fury, Kliz is either getting a solo kill in that situation. Nann's got to be careful here. Has to use the Aegis. Swifty, you can tell he wants it, but understands that dashing into 2 members is probably not his best option.
I love the global emote there.
No, it's well used. Not enough global emote usage at this level.
Yep, just like, all right, respect it. You got out of there, but I kept my tower.
Yeah, stay out.
Yeah,
is what it should say.
Swifty, good people over there. Last time I saw these guys, actually, it was PAX Australia before Worlds, and Swifty was coaching Garn Servo under a different team name than Silly Esports. That's the squad that came to Worlds. And so Swifty actually coached them at Worlds too, so interesting to see him make the move over to the player. He mentioned in the interview that he was a player before he was a coach, of course, but you know, flopping around those 2 roles as a coach and a player, especially playing on the same team that you coached, is a really interesting dynamic.
I completely agree, and it's really worked out well for Garn Servo because Swifty's been a bright spot for them during their Smite Global Series runs. He's a really formidable mid laner, not just a dude who can be there for morale reasons or whatever. Dude can play.
I think the morale is Envisionized by himself.
It's true. He smiles enough for everyone else.
He really does. Envisionise, one of the more fun players here. Kayo getting chased down by fan favorite Kliz. It's really funny. It's really interesting watching the personalities come out here. In the international scene, faceless for a long time. Kliz has been a member of the community for a couple of years now, and seeing the Aussie guys step up as well is really fun.
It has been, and as you mentioned, it's exciting because a lot of these players, you heard Kliz say it during his interview, you know, it's going to be a while before a team like Black Dragons gets recognized for their skill against a team like NA or any team from NA or EU. Despite how skilled they are, it's difficult to see that sometimes against the great competition they have to go up against. So personality is the best way to show it off.
Nice ult for Kayo, but the response from Servo, actually, this could be huge aggro. PIBE is going to change, jump over the wall, and what was a great spot for Servo, everybody from Black Dragons got out. Even with this sprint, I don't know if they're going to have the same team fight that they thought they had.
PIBE's got to use the sprint as well. He will fall to the war cry from Kayo. Kliz, low and no ultimate, but Nann on the left-hand side is going to have to jump up and over that wall. Gons throws the Divine Judgment in there just for good measure as MarcelZ makes the rotation alongside Regan. And if Destonate just finds that charge onto PIBE on the transformation, it was just a hair too early. PIBE falls, and that's maybe even a Fire Giant pull from Garn Servo, but instead they're forced to chase all the way down towards the blue buff, and if PIBE doesn't backpedal a little bit, honestly, probably could have survived in that situation.
Either way, he does fall, so Servo, they get something, but certainly not what they were looking for. They showed up to the restaurant at closing and just sort of got the leftovers, unfortunately. Pyromancer pulled and leashed and pulled once again. Servo is in the neighborhood, half HP on the minor objective. Regan pushing up forward, getting aggressive. Level 14 with 61 stacks on that Warlock staff, so he's ready to dance. Black Dragons, however, split up. This could be a great spot for Servo. They have to notice that Nann's by himself. They have an eye on the Ullr. Jumping to the right-hand side. There's the dash. Beautiful stunted combo onto Swifty, and Kliz will punish, but it's all about Nann.
MarcelZ doing what he can from the sky as well. Envisionise stunned out by PIBE. He's falling very low. No mana on him either, and MarcelZ will grab number 6 for Black Dragons.
Wonderful response from BD. Garn Servo had the ball the entire time, and Black Dragons just waited for them to drop it. Make a mistake. Black Dragons sat there and just dared the opposition to make a mistake, and they did, and Black Dragons just pounced.
Gon's coming on the backside here. Kliz, he might fall, indeed he will. Kayo gets that kill, but now it's Destonate on the run. PIBE's transformation trying to help him out and finding that kill. Gons falls, but around the back, MarcelZ needs some help.
Kayo's going to chase this one down. Can get the kill, and he will. Gons is getting pinged out as well. Regan doesn't have the mana to follow. There's one. The
Mystical
Mail is good. And the Mystical Mail gets the double kill. Shouts to Meerkat, and it's 7-7. Black Dragons and Servo tied up here in game number 2.
And Pyromancer's going to go down here for Garn Servo. All of a sudden, Garn Servo, the Oceania representatives, taking it to Black Dragons a little bit. Pretty much an even game, but as I mentioned, I feel like Garn Servo's late game comp is just a little bit better. Too much single target for my liking from Black Dragons and their composition. Garn Servo doesn't have a lot of AoE, but they've got a bit better in space control between Kayo and the Ganesha ultimate. Regan has more AoE than either of the other two carries on the other side with just that stop time. I feel like Garn Servo, if they can continue this pace, try and stick it out until the later stages, they've got a real chance to force a game 3 here.
And Kayo's going to kind of disrupt this, but I feel like people generally undervalue Mesmerize. The Mez from Apollo is huge, and it's a really long time. Like I said, as long as the Mystical Mail's not messing that up, that's actually another crowd control that teams, I think, kind of forget about.
Look at how much damage Regan just did to MarcelZ. A third of his health with 1-1.
Kayo looking for the fight on the right-hand side. Players collapsing. Not going to be enough. Nann one kick away. Envisionise misses, finds him with the fists. Nann falls down. Huge deal for Servo as Envisionise turns the corner and turns MarcelZ. Gon's in trouble as Kayo on the chase slams the hammer. And it's number 10 for Servo. Aggro, that's a lead chain.
Man, really clean fight there from Garn Servo. In the last fight, Nann was separated, but that makes a great individual play to turn the engagement on its head. He brought Swifty down to 1 HP and allowed his jungler to do it for him. This time, Garn Servo says, okay, you can be separated, but we're going to make sure that you're on the run the entire time. Gets no chance to try and turn that fight around, and that's a Gold Fury kill, and I love Swifty using the ultimate to get to Fire Giant as fast as possible. Kliz has ultimate, though, and Garn Servo has to be careful with him.
This is tough. I like this call. 25% of the Fire Giant. PIBE on the left, Kliz on the right. Ultimate's available for both. Still, Servo confirms it.
Wow.
This is a different team than game number 1. It's one thing, listen, it's one thing to win a couple of team fights and play well. Listen, we've talked about disparity of level of play and skill level. If you're here at Masters, you can win a team fight against anyone. I don't really care. The difference is the decision-making here. I didn't see this team in game number 1. Halfway through the team fight, Swifty turns towards the gold because he knows at this point he can solo it if need be, while his team finishes off the players. If Swifty doesn't leave the team fight and go to the gold fury, they don't get a fire giant.
No, because of how quickly he was able to do it, then he ults over to the right-hand side. You're right, Garn Servo just look like they've woken up a little bit. The cobwebs have cleared from their minds. They're thinking clearly for the first time in a while, and it's looking great for them so far. I mean, now it's just a matter of what Black Dragon's going to give up. Clearly the tier 1 on the left is a give up against a team with Apollo, Chronos, and a Fire Giant, but you can try and defend all you want, but I just said this is a team with Apollo, Chronos, and Fire Giant. This is one of the best teams you could possibly have at knocking down structures quickly.
We talk about sieging. We generally talk about team fight, right? This is that type of sneaky siege where you can have 3 players versus 5 in the team fight, and your Apollo and your Chronos just try to weave the basics in traffic. And a couple of shots at this point of the game, and that Phoenix goes down.
zGonnZ and Nann were trying to split push in the mid lane, but Kayo showed up, chased them away, but Black Dragons will be able to not be forced too far down by Garn Servo, who instead just playing objective-minded, and that's what you have to do at this level, learning their lessons that were given to them by Team Dignitas, just understanding that objectives are the most important part of the game. You know Envisionise wants to just chase kills all day, but that's not how you win.
It's about the stuff after the stuff. And right now, they're certainly looking for it. Phoenix being aggressed on, but more about the team fight. Envisionise a little bit too deep. Jumps back to the ultimate. To the sky goes Ram. Fires shots blindly and won't find anyone. And Servo, right, I'm not saying I know better than them, but they looked for the fight instead of the weaving the basics in traffic that I was talking about, and they come up really empty-handed. Going forward, I want to see Servo focus on the Phoenix more so than the fight.
Yeah, agreed, and I talked about it a lot on the desk yesterday, and one of the things that's very difficult about competing at this level is you can't just make one good decision and then win the game off of that against the teams you're going to be going up against at a land like this. You have to make good decision, good decision, good decision, great decision, good, you win. It's not, and there where Garn Servo, it's good decision in the last few team fights, good decision on gold, good decision on fire, good decision on your tower pushes, bad decision on the Phoenix, and all of a sudden they lose a lot of momentum. Now, it could have been worse. They could have lost a big team fight, fallen way far behind, but that looked like Garn Servo got a little bit too excited to me and tried to just end the game when just going for Phoenix in that situation, backing up and resetting for next fire is almost the same thing without actually having to kill the Titan.
I think this team is their own worst enemy, referring to Garn Servo. What makes them so powerful is the pure energy and how rambunctious they are. And I think that catalyzes them to be able to win. The just whatever it is that Envisionise is, that is the lifeblood of this team. At the same time, it can go a little bit haywire. Envisionise, we saw, went back to his old, he was diving by himself into 3 members. Don't do that. You gotta, there's this level of what they do that's acceptable. And then they push it too far. If they can keep it contained, do you know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you gotta keep a lid on it, right? You can only let a little bit of the cat out of the bag, not just let them leap out.
If this team doesn't let a little bit of the cat out of the bag, they don't do anything.
Right.
But they got to make sure they ration it a little bit.
It's a difficult beam to balance.
2 paws. The cat.
Oh, the cat. Oh, 2 paws. Okay.
Yeah, 2 paws, not 4. Right.
Right.
Get
yeah,
it?
like
half a cat.
Sure, halfway cat. Yes. So we can go with that if you want to. But I agree with you. You got, and that's where it really becomes very important to have one clear voice in the comms. Doesn't have to be someone who's always going to be there to say everything for you. It doesn't have to be your main shot caller or anything like that. But someone has to be able to, they've got to have their hand on the leash to pull back and be like, all right, you got to hold on. We're in control. Let's just slow it down and find the next few team fights. Don't go too crazy. Every team has got to have at least one of those players to rein the other ones back in.
When I look at teams that have been successful in the past, I look at players like that remind me of this. I look at players like Funball that are reined in by Lobster. I look at players like Trickstink and Cuvo that are reined in by Zeros, right? Garn Servo, do they have one of those players is the biggest question, because we know who Envisionise and Swifty and Kayo are, right? We do need somebody to kind of rein them in. But right now, it's Black Dragons trying to do that. 10,000 gold down. So I guess I don't have too much to complain about. Servo do need to close this one out. This is an elimination game. Double elimination, but we're here on the lower bracket. He who wins goes on. He who doesn't, well, they don't go home. They'll hang out for a little bit. But they won't be competing anymore. So very, very important. Back against the wall here. Kliz going to be grabbed up by Destonate. Actually could take more damage than he deals. A couple of basics, and he's already down to 90%.
Kliz already getting pretty tanky now. I mean, he's in that ghostly form, so he gets that extra damage mitigation from physical and magical, but finished off the Bulwark of Hope between the last fight in this one. Also picked up an upgraded Horrific Emblem, which I think is a great pickup right here.
Oh, Envisionise going to get jumped on, but okay. I was wondering if Black Dragons were going to go all the way for the chase, because then if they do, that's an easy Fire Giant call.
Right.
Hey, I'm dumb, but they're dumber. Kill the Fire Giant.
Exactly. And Black Dragon's a little bit too tenured to allow that to happen. But going back to this Horrific Emblem pickup from Kliz, I think it's the perfect one here, because there's only one sprint inside of Garn Servo, and that slow is very potent, but more importantly, it's slowing the attack speed of Apollo and Chronos. It's reducing their damage overall. It's really smart from Kliz.
Garn Servo going to start with the Fire Giant here. Envisionise behind. Servo looking to leash and the fight. Swifty going to stick on the objective, now going to change his mind. Kayo, however, turning around, and Black Dragons are going to be able to fight into this one. Garn Servo a little bit hesitant, can't seem to make up their minds, and that could be the problem. Rob from the sky firing off the shots. Swifty in the Aegis, and now the turnaround could be good. Ultimate for the mid lane. Apollo will be strong. He's going to go aggressive. Oh, he thinks twice about it. Regan has made a call that he can do this by himself. Chasing GonnZ down. Gonna miss the one. Swifty changes his mind. Shows up. The turnaround. GonnZ is able to not take care of it. Beautiful cover from the Chronos.
Oh, Kliz low. Gets ulted by Kayo, but is still A-OK. Nann barely managed to escape towards the mid lane. Was able to back really close there from Black Dragons. To be down 10K and almost take that team fight is impressive. I love the target commitment onto Swifty, but Kliz wasn't alongside GonnZ. Need multiple members diving someone like an Apollo. Just one won't do it.
Fire Giant started up. Garn Servo have players on the back line, though, that they don't know about. Now they do. Swifty's here. Envisionise gets stunned on the fire. And Nann, something happened. But he
was positioning like a solo laner. I mean, he was right next to Kliz pretty much, and all of Garn Servo basically do a double take. Like, is that an Ullr with no relics behind us?
They thought, you know what it was? Black Dragons thought they had the surprise flank. They didn't realize that I think it was Kayo that was behind them, because there's no reason anybody should be behind them at that point. But Kayo, a beautiful accident. In a bad spot, winds up being the right spot. Perhaps a microcosm of this game. Garn Servo up 15,000 now against Black Dragons, who, I mean, to quote the Savage, game one was a stomp.
It really was. And Black Dragons made it look like they could just keep it going right off the bat here in game one as well. Remember, this game started with Swifty falling before, Regan falling before minions spawned to GonnZ's Blink in the mid lane alongside the rest of Black Dragons, and that's been his only death so far this game. 3-0-4 since then for the Chronos. And
that's crazy.
Putting in some serious player damage as well. 3rd overall, 2nd on his team. So Garn Servo has been able to stay in it mentally after a really tough game one. They got smacked around day one against Dignitas as well, and then you die before minions spawn. It's like, all right, well, here we go. But someone on that Garn Servo squad is doing a good job of keeping everybody mentally in it, and it's worked out for them thus far. They're on the brink of securing game 2.
I think it's really tough to beat Garn Servo when Envisionise is having a good personal game, because I have never been in comms, but I don't think I need to be to say that there's no way that this kid has a good game and doesn't let everybody know about it. And you've played on a team. When people are performing like that helps everyone.
Oh, without a doubt. You got to have just that level of confidence that it brings and that kind of stuff. It makes it so much easier.
Left side is the target for Garn Servo. 80% on the Phoenix already. See? They made the adjustment. That's what this team is good at, is making these adjustments on the fly and trying to correct what they've had problems with so far. There's Kliz pushing up. Watch the right side for zGonnZ. He's going to be able to take care of Regan if he's not aware, and he's not. But the turnaround stun is strong. Up to the sky goes Ram. One shot, two shot. Destonate gets jumped on. Nann is going to be the culprit that time. But Swifty in the sky. Gonna land right back down. Kliz is in trouble. The entirety of the team collapsing on the two tanks.
PIBE is dead. Envisionise gets his third kill in a row, but MarcelZ able to get back to the fountain and come back to this fight. Now Envisionise is gonna fall to zGonnZ is blinking in. zGonnZ still trying to go for it, but a nice stun answered back though by Nann.
Nann's out of control. Nann's out of control. I know that MarcelZ got that last hit. I don't care. Nann found the crowd control, found a lot of the damage. Nann is the player, even if they lose this game, Nann has been one of the most impressive players on the field here in game 2.
Without a doubt, the dude's a beast. I mean, Ullr is supposed to struggle at this point in the game. If Ullr was really, really good at 30 minutes, he'd be, you know, even better than he already is, which is hard to imagine a lot of the time. But Ullr is not picked a lot of the time because of his mid to late game struggles, really more late game. But no one told Nann that. He missed that memo because he has been an initiator for this Black Dragons team with that axe a lot of the time.
Interesting build coming out from him as well. I hate Transcendence and the Chin side. They're two items that don't talk to each other. The power from Transcendence doesn't boost Chin side. But I mentioned Herwin went this build a while ago. I think Baskin did as well when he played the Apollo. I'm not too sure. And Herwin kind of backed me up when I said it on the cast. The first three items, Trans, Boots, and Crusher, early game. It's almost like he's a different character in the late game, looking for that sustained DPS instead of the burst. So as the game gets later and later, you need more sustained DPS. The last three items, Chins, Titans, and then, well, not the Odibo, the Bloodforge, will be the late game power for the Hunter.
Yeah, not a lot of attack speed here for Nann, though. Remember, as he is now level 20, he's maxed out that switch stance, where the ultimate usually is, and when in bow stance, it does give him extra attack speed, so he doesn't need to build a ton, but would like to see at least one more attack speed item. Gives him an extra 25% attack speed, which is basically that of an item whenever using that bow stance. 1.81 is a little bit slow.
Well, he's got
overall,
Chins as well.
It's still, I mean, Crusher provides him attack speed. I'd still think I'd like to see him, once he finishes off Bloodforge, sell his Warrior Tabi for some Ninja Tabi, get that extra little bit of attack speed, and then he'll be A-okay. You want to be sitting right around 2 attack speed towards the late game as a Hunter.
Nann certainly keeping Black Dragons competitive in this elimination game for Garn Servo. Not so much for Black Dragons. If they lose this one, they do have a third game to perform in. Nann, however, can't close the gap all by himself. 10,000 wave to wave separating our two teams. And the Australians, Garn Servo, have really taken the game, and I think a couple of fans by surprise as well. This is, make no bones about it, Black Dragons is the top card in this matchup.
Yeah, I completely agreed there. And Envisionise had to go back to base because he ate an axe and had to use a defensive relic there as well. So now this is pressure opportunities for Black Dragons. They're trying to take advantage.
Yeah, look at the call here. Just right away, full commit, fire giant, 10%. Black Dragons take it, no problem. Up in the sky is Swifty. Servo need to punish this play, but I just don't think they have the numbers. Swifty gonna land on top of PIBE. There's control coming out from Kayo. Swifty got blown up. MarcelZ on the good side.
Now it's all of Garn Servo on the run. Rewind used there by Regan to put himself in a better spot. Look, dashing in at 33 minutes as Apollo is a bad idea in almost every circumstance, and Swifty learned that lesson with the swiftness because he immediately got hit by that Nem ult and then crit down 500 plus by MarcelZ instantly. And this is the resiliency of a team like Black Dragons. This is what experience on land looks like, where you're getting beat down by a team that might just have a better comp than you in the late game, and you just play like you don't really care about it.
Fully agree. This is just experience. Black Dragon's able to take advantage of Garn Servo here. Envisionise with a nice flank, but he's actually going to get jumped on anyway as Kliz pushes up and takes care of Regan. 9 seconds still on the mid lane Apollo, so it's a 5v3. And Garn Servo not looking good in this team fight. Kayo stunned, and Kayo going to be dashed on and down. 13 all as Black Dragons respond. 10,000 gold down. Take the Fire Giant after a single stun. Take the fight and the Phoenix.
Nann was this close to just killing Swifty all by himself, and if he does, that could have been the end of the game and the end of their tournament dreams for Garn Servo. He looked like he still was hunting for blood in that mid lane, but smart call by Black Dragons to just get that mid Phoenix and back it up, because a lot of teams, again, it comes down to experience for me. I think a lot of teams that, especially those international ones that don't get as much lane experience, have been down all game. They win a big team fight late. They get fired. They get mid Phoenix. They kill another member. I think a lot of them probably just go, all right, let's end. Let's just try and end right now while we have the opportunity. But Black Dragons has won the last few team fights, last two, in fact, overall in 5v5 situations. One of those where Garn Servo had Fire Giant buff in their corner, and now Black Dragons has done what Garn Servo was not all game long, which is actually be able to crack a base, kill a Phoenix, and start those fire minions to start pressuring the enemy base.
What I liked about Black Dragons was that they gave your aggressive idea a shot. They're like, look, if we get the team, we can't just rush the Titan. We have to get the Phoenix and the team fight. If we get 1 or 2 picks, then we can go for the win. Before the Phoenix, they go for the team fight. Kliz picks off 1, and they need 1 or 2 more, right? And they actively look for it. You saw them hunt kills. When they realized that wasn't going to be in the cards, they immediately switched the Phoenix, killed it, and backed off. I like the fact that they tried for it. They understood what to go for and what not to.
You completely agreed there. It's just about understanding your opportunities in that situation. Like, you're not giving up anything by looking for kills in that spot.
Exactly.
You're not really risking a whole lot, but your payoff is great at the end of the day.
Risk versus reward certainly coming up in Black Dragon's favor, and raining good things on top of him. Black Dragons now basically tied up here, looking for the left lane push. There's Destonate with the silence up front. Regan from the back line trying to dish out damage. Gon's dealing with Swifty on the right-hand side, and Destonate again finds himself already low. Dashing forward is Servo, though. Kliz half HP.
PIBE gonna go up into that transformation. Check out where zGonnZ is, though, in that mid lane. He's just clearing out these waves, making it so the fire minions are pushing in and waiting for his opportunity to blink in on the left.
Can never ignore the 4-in-1 split push. You see this is standard Smite at this point, and for good reason. Able to push up 2 lanes at once is a big deal, especially when your assassin can just rejoin the fight at a moment's notice. Blinks to the left-hand side, and Kayo almost gone. He will be gone. Destonate is going to be next. Basics are good, but a nice stop by Swifty, and Destonate actually gets on out of there.
That's huge that Swifty
really
actually
big.
saved Destonate's life there and able to make it so it's at least a 4v5. This left side Phoenix is as good as dead, but now Black Dragons has invested a lot. No ultimates left, not a lot of relics either, so I don't think they can go for the end here. Instead, it's time to back it up.
Yeah, I don't know how, average defense by Servo here. They don't prevent the Phoenix kill, but they prevent the Titan drop, which is probably the most important thing in the game.
Yeah, right after speed buff.
I wholeheartedly and non-jokingly agree. Yes.
Speed buff, then Titan.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been over this. Actually, Taco thinks that red buff might be in there, a little bit above Titan.
She's wrong.
It's
Maybe
close.
if you're playing Artemis.
Red buff, I mean, yeah, she's playing the top of the tier list, so of course she's playing Artemis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta get that red buff. Garn Servo, however. What's important for Garn Servo to realize here is that despite Black Dragon's success, is that they're tied. Everybody's 6-slotted, and Black Dragons has had the wind in their sails for the past 20 minutes, but with the way that the waves are pushed up for Servo, they can and should take this fight.
PIBE jumping forward, looking for the stun. Nice knock up there by Kayo, but he's getting shredded pretty quickly on the backside. Envisionise going to come in, though, and Nann is very low. MarcelZ gets the first kill, but Envisionise does finish off the mid lane Ullr.
MarcelZ going to land down. Envisionise blinks over the wall, and he's full HP.
Here comes Swifty
as well from the sky. Oh, the Aegis is good. So beautiful. Not so beautiful, but Garn Servo looking forward, chasing zGonnZ out of the picture. Kliz gonna be stunned, Kliz gonna be grabbed, Kliz gonna be hit, Kliz gonna be killed. 15 all. Garn Servo takes it back. Swifty's low. This is a fire giant, though.
I really don't think Black Dragons was ready for Garn Servo to come in and take that fight, because what team does fight there? Most other teams in the SPL or in Brazil don't really go for a fire giant contest when your left side Phoenix is down, when you've lost the last few fights. And that's where that energy that you were mentioning for Garn Servo really comes into play, because you really feel like they don't think they're going to lose that fight and are right in there ready to go, and they end up winning it perfectly. But it's a great engage overall because of how many relics they had forced out at that left side Phoenix siege. It was the beads and Aegis from Nann. zGonnZ had used everything. PIBE's defensive relics were down. And so that just meant that that engagement was so much easier for Garn Servo. One stun from Regan basically killed Nann and MarcelZ. It's easy pickings for a Chronos in the late game if you don't have any relic, because you're never going to outbox him.
Garn Servo is like that gifted kid in the AP classes that like tries to hide it a little bit. They're making these plays that are top tier level plays that, of course, you're here at Masters, like obviously. And then you watch games like game number 1, you see them interacting, you're like, oh well, how seriously do they take these things? I mean, there is no mistake about that engagement because of the fact that they chased all the relics and the ultimates out on the left side Phoenix. That's why they chose to do so.
Check out Black Dragons' grouping here. Looks like it got pinged out, though, by someone on Garn Servo. No, it didn't, because Kayo almost walks right into the trap, but all he did was bait out Nemesis ult. Maybe he was bluffing there. I think he may have known
he was
they were there.
100% bluffing. You can tell because Envisionise wasn't blindly running up the lane. Kayo, that was beautiful from Servo. They put their tankiest member up front and lag behind. And they go, listen, we think they're here. Jump on me, buddy. I'm the tankiest guy. You're not going to put my teammates in trouble. That was really, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's an advanced play that you don't make on accident. And Servo, they have a lot of fun, but these guys absolutely know what's up. And game number 2 has been a great display of that.
Completely back and forth, man. We were just here on this left side Phoenix with Garn Servo, and then we were up there where Black Dragons was pushing it. Here we are again, corner side on defense.
Mid lane is going to be the focus this time around. The box already 8, and Destonate in a box himself. Not a good look for Servo, as Swifty going to fall down as well. MarcelZ takes care of him. Trouble again as Regan falls. 60, 60, 60. This is the game-winning team fight for Black Dragons. Double un for Nann. 19 in total. And the Black Dragons are marching up the map.
I don't know if that was the stun from PIBE or the stun from Nann that hit Destonate first. All I know is that he never survived to see the end of that stun chain between Black Dragons. All the CC in the world. I love what PIBE does, though. Throws the hammer, then immediately takes one more step forward and transforms. Says, if Garn Servo, your support's dead, and what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And Garn Servo had no response.
Nothing they could do about it. Nothing Envisionise can do about this left side Phoenix either, and the Titan seems to have the same thing written on it. Fantastic performance in game number 2 from both of the teams, but there does have to be a winner, and it's Black Dragons biting back and breathing down. They're going to be continuing on. Garn Servo, we'll see you next time.
Well played by both sides. That may have been the most fun game so far of this Masters LAN. Incredibly back and forth, but Black Dragons, it's just that experience for me, that consistency that it comes back to, that they've been in bad spots before on lands, and they're able to stay in it mentally and get themselves a victory.
If I'm Garn Servo there, I'm reasonably upset, right? Obviously, you want to win, but I mean, that's the type of game, absolutely. We spoke to them earlier and how they sort of take things away from these matches and they learn from it. That's one that you can watch that tape for a couple of weeks and take something different from it every time.
Without a doubt. I mean, these guys impressed me with their ability to adjust quickly.
Yes.
I mean, not only did they make a big difference in their gameplay from game 1 of this set into game 2, but how about their game 1 against Dig and game 2 against Dig? They looked a lot better there as well.
Real quick, you see exiting there is Regan, the Hunter player, the redhead. I have to say it. He looks just like Benson from Call of Duty.
Doesn't he?
He really looks just like him. Australian, though, this time. Anyway, fantastic job from these guys. The Brazilians, the Black Dragons, will move on. The Australians, the Oceanic region, fall down. Garn Servo are gone home.
That's look, it wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't the result that they were looking for, without a doubt. But they looked like they had it still.
Yes.
You can tell that these guys have what it takes to start performing at a better level coming into the rest of the lands this year and going forward as well.
Really excited to watch these guys come out and play. Let us know who you think was the MVP in Mixer Chat. Well, the MVP in the game. You guys are in Mixer Chat. Who knows? Maybe Nann's in Mixer. Wait, that's my vote. Anyway, Desk, let us know who you think.
Thanks a lot, Tom and Aggro. Man, they nearly did it. They nearly won a game. GonnZ Servo. Probably the best looking Oceania team we've seen, I'd say, in terms of competitive play, because over the years of watching Oceania, they've never won a competitive game of Smite on the international stage, ever. Since they first came on the scene in Season 2 Worlds, the closest they got was Kwaigu Reapers from China, who defeated them as well. That was... They could have won that game, Taco. I'm so frustrated for them.
I'll be honest. I didn't think for a moment that they were having a solid chance to win the game, because I did not see a possibility for Phoenix Siege to actually happen for Oceania. I was even sitting there with Rival, and they thought for a second, they're like, oh, man, this could actually be it. And I was like, no, it shouldn't be, because that Phoenix Siege was abysmal from Oceania, and that's just going back to the composition where you can see the clocks, like the clockwork going,
sure.
and it's like the cogs are turning, and it's working
yep.
out partially, but then you get to the Phoenix and you remember, oh wait, we have to tank
How do we siege this
while attacking it. And sure, normally you'd look towards Chronos or Apollo, but those two can never really breach into that Phoenix perimeter, because the moment that they went towards it, we saw how quickly they got blown up for it.
Commiserations to GonnZ Servo. They will just be watching for the rest of the tournament. But congratulations to the Black Dragons. Nann was the MVP for that game. Had a pretty good time of things for himself. Taco, honestly, overall, playing the Ullr once again in this game.
That first Phoenix Siege defense, though, the play from Nann,
he got Ganesha of the wall.
Beautiful. He did a perfect job there, and normally Ullr does tend to struggle, I think, a little bit towards this late game stride. I mean, this match was upwards of 40 minutes, and yet it didn't seem like it. Nann was just following up so excellently off of the CC from his teammates, and I think that all around, Black Dragons just had not only the better composition, but they just seem to execute a bit better as well.
Let's be honest, like, talking a little bit more about the Black Dragons in this game, they were behind at points in this game. GonnZ Servo did get a lead, but they showed that they can do what is required on Phoenix defenses, which is a very important factor in Smite these days. You have to be able to defend well the Phoenixes.
If you want to be able to stay relevant at a competitive level, especially against these North America and European teams, you have to know how to properly defend and how to properly counter siege. And I think that Black Dragons certainly displayed that they are capable of doing so. They just need to be a little bit more cautious of not letting their lead to begin with kind of get drained away from them.
Well, the Black Dragons are standing by right now for a post-game interview. Let's see how they feel.
Hey, what's up, guys? Congratulations on the victory. I want to jump right into it while it's fresh in your mind. Game number 2 was a slugfest. Just what can you comment on the game?
We had a lot of misplays on this game, allowed them to get really ahead. But we knew that if we just defended our Phoenix, we could come back as long as they don't take the Phoenix. So we just planned around that, and we were able to get 2 or 3 team fights there, and then turn the game around.
What kind of adaptations did you make from yesterday's match against Space Station Gaming? Was it more of you guys fixing up your own mistakes, or taking a little bit of a piece of history from Space Station?
I think today we tried to make our own plays, and yesterday we were just following them around. I think that's the big difference. And I mean, the first game we were just invading them, and we won pretty easy, and that's why I think we just tried to do our best, and we are really focused. That's it, I think.
Yeah, you guys looked proactive is the word that we used a lot. You guys looked like you were making the first play. And frankly, Nann, it looked like it was all you. You were really putting yourself forward and making a lot of plays. We were wondering on the cast, who's the voice? Not necessarily the shot caller, but who's the guy that kind of brings everything together?
Most of the time is me.
So moving forward after this victory, you guys are going to be facing the winner between Rival and E United here. Which team would you rather face, and why?
I think both teams are strong. We faced a United at World, so that would be fun. But Rival as well, we never played in a competitive game, so that would be fun as well.
Yeah, I think because Nocturne is already played against United, we can watch their games since Nocturne is our screen partners and learn. And so maybe against United, but Rival is gonna be really fun too.
Let's comment on the last game that you guys just played. Garn Servo really stepped it up in game number 2. Was that a surprise to you guys, or were you expecting that level of play from the get-go?
No, I think when we go to international competition, we always respect our rivals, our opponents. So we make sure that we prepare properly. And I think we did a lot of mistakes on game 2, but I don't think it's a surprise. Like the best team in the region, is gonna be good. I don't think that should be a surprise.
They did a lot of adapting to the second game, and they did a very good job.
Awesome, fantastic. And then before we let you guys go, are you guys confident in the next matchup, whoever it is?
Always.
Love the answer. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.